Are you missing opportunities because you're not checking in the right places?
You're a voice actor. You're an entrepreneur. You're a VOPRENEUR. Welcome to the Everyday VOPRENEUR podcast, your guide through the business of voiceover.
Your voiceover demos are your #1 marketing tool, and you need to display them on your website in a way that works on any device or browser. VoiceSam is the player producers love. Plus, it offers tools that can improve your email signature, quickly create a one-page website, and much more. Sign up now at voicesam.com/markscott and get 3 months of the base player for the price of one. That's voicesam.com/markscott for full details and to sign up.
The VOPRENEUR podcast. Hey, it doesn't suck.
Not as funny as Conan. Not as cute as Seth Meyers. Not as smart as Colbert. But he's one of us, and that counts for something. Here's Mark Scott, the original Everyday VOPRENEUR.
Hello and welcome to the Everyday VOpreneur podcast, your guide through the business of voiceover. I'm Mark Scott, the original Everyday VOpreneur, here with Summer Series episode number 2. What's the Summer Series all about? It's all about giving you short, quick hit episodes, still designed to give you practical, actionable advice that you can apply directly to your voiceover business. And this week is going to be no different. I'm going to be giving you 5 places that you need to be checking for opportunities because they might be there and you might just be missing them. Before we do get into this week's episode, I want to encourage you to check out the website at VOPRENEUR.com. Every episode of the podcast is there and available for download. There's like 108 of them now. So if you're new to the podcast, you want to go back and check out the archives, they're all available at VOPRENEUR.com. And while you're there, make sure you click on the shop button and you're going to be able to pick up some really cool VOPRENEUR swag. Get some t-shirts, hoodies, muscle shirts for the summer, all that sort of fun stuff at VOPRENEUR.com. Click on the shop button. So most of us are checking our emails obsessively. I think that's probably a fairly safe assessment, right? We've got them coming to our phone. We're getting ping notifications on our phones, on our watches, on our computers, on every other device that we have. Every single time a new email drops in our inbox, and of course, every single time a new email drops in our inbox, our fingers are crossed and our expectations are high that it's going to be a new voiceover opportunity. Now, although that's where the vast majority of the opportunities are going to land, there are a few other places that you might not be checking as often as you should be. And if you're not checking them as often as you should be, you might actually be missing out on some potential opportunities. So that's what we're going to do today. 5 places that you need to be checking for opportunities so that you don't miss anything. And we're starting with the first and most obvious one, which is your spam folder. I check my spam folder probably about 4 times a day at least. And it is not uncommon for me to find emails from clients and also to find emails from potential leads in my spam folder. I wish that I could figure out why that happens. I wish that I could find a way to make it not happen. But the fact of the matter is, it does happen, and it happens more often than I would like. And that is why I am always checking my spam folder. The last thing you want to do is check your spam folder maybe like once a week or something. And then you find an email from a lead who was asking for a custom quote or audition, something of that nature, but it was from a week ago. And now you've missed the opportunity. You need to be checking your spam folder on a fairly regular basis. Like I said, I do mine at least 4 times a day just to make sure that I am not missing anything. You might be surprised what you find in there. And then, of course, it's not just spam messages from potential leads or prospects or clients. There's a lot of stuff that ends up in your spam folder that probably shouldn't be there, or maybe you don't want there. This is your chance to whitelist it, move it back into your inbox. So that's number 1 on the list. Number 2 on the list is your LinkedIn inbox. If you're going to be using LinkedIn on a regular basis for voiceover marketing, which, by the way, you should be using LinkedIn on a regular basis for your voiceover marketing. If you're going to be sending a lot of connection requests and establishing yourself, building a presence, a platform for yourself on LinkedIn, then don't be surprised if people message you through the LinkedIn system. Now, I know that may seem odd. Why wouldn't people just email you? Well, sometimes they don't have it. Sometimes they're not willing to go looking for it. And there are a lot of people that are just very active on LinkedIn all day throughout the day. And so I do have clients, new clients that reach out to me directly through LinkedIn. And so I am making sure that I'm getting those notifications so I don't miss anything. but I'm also checking that inbox on a regular basis. So the more that you begin to incorporate LinkedIn into your voiceover marketing, the more that you need to be making sure that you are checking that LinkedIn inbox probably a couple of times a day at least, just so you're not missing any opportunities. Number 3 on the list, this is the one that drives me the most insane. When you are using Facebook Messenger has an alternate inbox. When you sign in through the Facebook Messenger app, it actually appears under message requests. And so if people are reaching out to you, maybe they're people that aren't currently friends with you on Facebook or aren't part of your Facebook network, those messages may drop in your alternate inbox. And it's not particularly obvious that they are there. It's one of those things where you actually have to go looking for it. And I will be the first to admit that I miss messages there from time to time because I don't check it as often as I should. I don't check it as often as I know I should. And so that's one of the ones that I've actually been working at getting better at least once a day, popping into message requests in Facebook Messenger, just to make sure that there's nothing that's dropped into my alternate inbox. And I'm going to add to this one as well. If you have a Facebook business page, make sure that you are checking the messenger for your Facebook business page, because I do have clients and leads that reach out to me directly through Facebook. Would I love everything to end up in my inbox? Ultimately, my email inbox, of course I would. But if somebody is more comfortable using LinkedIn, if somebody's more comfortable using Facebook Messenger, I'm not going to say no to potential voiceover opportunities. So make sure you're checking that alternate inbox. Number 4 on the list, and this one could probably be split a few ways, but what I've specifically wrote down is you got to be checking your DMs in Instagram and your DMs in Twitter. And this could go for any other social platform that you may be using that has a direct messaging platform. But the more that you use any of these platforms, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Clubhouse, whatever it is, but the more that you use them, the more there is a possibility that somebody is going to contact you through them. Particularly Instagram. I have people that do message me through Instagram, leads that have found me and messaged me through Instagram. And so that's another one that you need to get in the habit of checking, I would say at least once a day, especially if you're active on the platform. If you're using Instagram more frequently, you might want to check it a couple of times a day. Just quickly pop in, just make sure that there's no messages from anybody in your inbox, because I've actually had conversations with producers who that's their primary source of booking talent, is through Instagram. So make sure that you are checking that regularly and not missing anything. So that's your DMs in Instagram and your DMs in Twitter. And then number 5 on the list, if you're a Gmail user like I am, one of the things that it's kind of been a blessing and a curse. When Gmail came out with tabs, right? So you've got your primary, you've got your social, you've got your promotions, you've got your updates. Maybe you've got some custom tabs if you've created some for yourself. But if you're using that functionality of Gmail, there's no longer just one inbox that everything goes into. And while there are certain things that I love about tabs, because it does keep my inbox a little less cluttered, my primary inbox, the fact of the matter is there's not always a perfect rhyme or reason for why things will end up in certain tabs. For some reason, no matter what I do, when anybody fills out a form on my website at markscottvoiceover.com, those almost always end up in my updates tab. Every once in a while, one of them comes to primary, but more often than not, they end up in the updates tab. I don't know why. It just seems to be the way that it works. So if you are a Gmail user and you have those tabs set up, make sure that you are popping over and checking some of those other tabs, and make sure that you're checking them carefully, because under the promotions tab, for example, that's where a lot of newsletters that you've signed up for are probably going to go. And if you're not looking at those every day, it's really easy just to kind of click all and maybe delete, right? You just kind of quickly scan through, oh yeah, this looks like all the regular stuff, delete. But you might be surprised to find that a message from one of your prospects, a message from one of your leads, again, like with me, somebody that filled out the form on my website, it could pop over into one of those other tabs. And if you're not carefully scrolling through and you're just mass deleting, you might delete and miss something. So make sure you're checking that one as well. So 5 places to check for opportunities because you could be missing them. Number 1, you got to be checking that spam folder multiple times a day. Number 2, the more you use LinkedIn, the more likely somebody's going to contact you through LinkedIn. So make sure you're checking your LinkedIn inbox. Number 3, check the message requests option in Facebook Messenger. That's that alternate Facebook inbox. Number 4, your DMs in Instagram, your DMs in Twitter, and that just goes for any other social platform that you're using. You should be checking those things at the very least daily. And number 5, make sure that you are checking the tabs in Gmail if you are a Gmail user, because sometimes stuff goes where you don't necessarily want it to go, and it becomes really easy to miss. Want more advice on the business and marketing side of voiceover, episodes that are going to help you by giving you actionable, practical advice? Subscribe to the podcast wherever fine podcasts are given away for free. Every week, something new for you. And make sure you're checking out the archives at VOPRENEUR.com. That is VOPRENEUR.com. Thanks so much for listening. I'll catch you on the next one.
And that's a wrap. Thanks for hanging in. Thanks for hanging out. Want more VOpreneur goodness? Jump online at VOPRENEUR.com.